Welcome to Dr.Caos. Today we're going to learn something called the constants and the variables. Now this is a key part of a programming. Without variables and constants, a programming language is nothing basically, alright? So it's really important that you understand the concepts of variables and constants. So starting with the variables. Variables are basically those whose value can change at any given moment. So the best example is, let's say I've got the number 5, alright? And I perform an addition, 5 plus 1. Now the value gets changed, right? It's now 6. So that is a particular variable, because the value gets changed if I add a number. A constant, on the other hand, is basically if you add 1, it's not going to change because the value is still 5. It's a constant whose value never gets changed no matter what. Okay? So there are many types of variables. There are like integers, double, floats, and the list goes on and on. But the most common ones are integer and float. Those are the ones I'm going to explain you today. So starting with the integers. Integers are declared with the keyword int. Okay, so you have to include the keyword int. So integers, first of all, is numbers, basically whole numbers. Let's say 5, 6, 100, 200. The numbers which doesn't have a decimal point is an integer. There's a 200, okay, that's an integer, but 200.1 is not an integer because it contains a floating point or a decimal point if you want. So those are floating values. These are proper whole numbers. So you declare the integer in the following way. Int, name of the integer, which can be absolutely anything. It can be num, it can be Yoda, it can be anything, okay? Anything that you like. The thing is, it cannot be a keyword. As I told you before, this is a keyword. A keyword is basically a reserved word by the compiler, which you cannot use for any other purpose. If integer is an integer, you cannot use it as a name. So if I type in int and int again, as you can see it plainly, it comes in blue. That means that is a data type, alright? And we don't want that. It should be a name which is not a keyword. I can type in Google if I want, since Google is not a keyword in C++. So do keep that in mind. No keywords can be name of a function or name of a variable or a constant. Nothing. Okay, so keywords are just reserved words to perform a particular task. Okay, now that we have all that sorted, this is how you declare it. Okay, int, name of the variable, and the semicolon. Alright, that's done. Now as you can plainly see, I haven't assigned a particular value to the variable Google. There's a reason for that. If you don't assign a value to it, the default value is 0. So if I don't put equal to anything, it would be 0. But on the other hand, if I type in equal to 50, it's going to assign the value 50 to it. Okay? If I don't put anything, default is 0. If I put something, I can put any value to it. 50 or 20 or 25, whatever. Any whole number. So if I type in 20, okay, and I execute the program, it will work just fine. It wouldn't display anything because we haven't used cout, but again, I just wanted to show you that it works. So those are the integer variables. Okay, variables again are the values, are those whose value gets changed at any given moment. So that is the int. Then we come to something called the float. This thing, float, is basically the one which accepts a decimal value. So anything like 20.50, that's a decimal value, and this is accepted by float. So you can put 20.50. You can also put a whole number. It will still work. Alright? You can insert a whole number if you wish. That's not a big deal. Okay? It works with the whole numbers and the floating values both at the same time. So that is the function of float. Then we have double. Again, it's exactly the same as the float, just it consumes more memory, and there are just few key tasks that double can perform that the float cannot. That we will learn in the future. So those are the variables. Then you have got the constants. So constants are basically the variables. Okay, you declare a variable but just with the keyword const in the front. So now the value of whatever is the name of the variable would be constant. So you assign a value, let's say 50. This value will never get changed all through the program. You cannot change it no matter what. Okay, so anything const, float, const, double, const, integer, all of them work with this keyword const. Okay, but just maintain the value constant. That is the main function of the keyword const. So these are all the variables and the data types. Not all of them, but the most key ones, okay, the ones that we're going to use in these few tutorials. Then we will learn a lot more keywords like characters, then we have got the strings, then we have got the structures, classes, and a lot more. Alright, so these are just the few basic ones that we're learning right now. So anyway, this has been Dr.Caos. I hope you like this video. Rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much.